You're listening to the Fantasy Wildcard Podcast.
Woo! Hello, and welcome everybody to the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty Show, episode 150. Wow, that is pretty amazing.
Unreal stuff. That's amazing. What a crew we are to get to 150 as well. Just thanks to all the fans, the audience, the co-hosts, the guests, and everyone. Really, it's just been an excellent ride so far, Max.
Absolutely, and we thought, Kev, we would have an extra special celebration, and we told Ali to take the night off because we don't want a downer in this celebration, right? He would bring everybody down. So we got the best two from the Fantasy Wildcard team. We got Max, we got Kevin. We're gonna chat you through what's been going on in the world of Dynasty fantasy football. You excited, Kev?
Week one, it's been truly mind-blowing, hasn't it? Like how many different storylines there's been some outstanding performances, but there's also been some low points as well, which we're gonna work through tonight and sort of give the Dynasty implications as to what to be doing moving forward.
Yeah, we're gonna start with one of those low points, and it's Aaron Rodgers injured on his fourth snap playing the ball, Kev?
Yeah. So we had to start on the Aaron Rodgers injury. I think first of all, it's going to tease the next topic as well, but there was another bad injury this weekend, and Aaron Rodgers, being Aaron Rodgers, had to upstage this person, had to have all the attention on him. So, but jokes aside, it's such a horrible blow for Rodgers. Fourth snap of the game, like you said. It potentially puts the Jets season in doubt. I mean, they beat the Bills last night, but just thinking for this season, they've got a team ready to contend. But we'll get to that in a second. I think Aaron Rodgers, first of all, what happens with his career? What happens for his dynasty value? Should you be trying to trade him for anything potentially? Do you think that there's weapons out there that can replace him and keep guys like Garrett Wilson relevant? Does it put more emphasis on Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook to actually work better for them? They're going to see more volume as well. So there's loads to think about for this. The big question though is Rodgers. Will he continually hang up his cleats? So it's difficult to tell at the moment. I don't think he'll want to go out like this. Just the competitor is being the move to New York, the sort of all the attention on him. I think he'll want to go out on his terms. So I do think he'll stay. He's definitely not a sell or a drop in Dynasty that you just got to hold and hope, really. I mean, if you're holding guys like, say, Trey Lance, etc., then you've got to be holding Rodgers. It's a position in Dynasty which, on your benches, you do want to be keeping more QBs, more running backs traditionally. So have him as your fourth QB. If you're a contender and he was, say, QB3, there will be options out there. If he's anything higher than QB3, you're not a contender in my eyes. And then the rebuilding sides, if he's someone that you've been looking to maybe hold into season and pivot to, then it's going to cause you some problems, but it will help you rebuild, go a little bit faster than needed. Yeah. So, lots to get through there. I won't take up all the airtime on Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to do an Aaron Rodgers and steal all the limelight. So, what's your thoughts on like Garrett Wilson, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers going down, Garrett Wilson must be so pissed off. Right? I mean, he's got to go back to, Zach Wilson, or, I mean, there's maybe been talks about someone like a Jameis Winston or somebody coming in. I imagine they'll just, I don't know, do you just stick with Zach? It's hard to tell, but Garrett Wilson, he was good enough last year to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he had, 6 different people throwing him the ball at one stage, I think, right? So he should still be just fine. I think you made a really good point about, Cooks and also Breece Hall as well. They're going to be really good moving forward because Robert Saleh is going to want to protect that ball, and they're going to get the carries. They're going to get the little short end targets as well, I would imagine, going forward. An interesting topic for me in this as well is I'm glad you brought up rebuilding team. I think Aaron Rodgers is actually a sneaky buy for a rebuilding team because you can just whack him on IR, and chances are next year you're probably going to still be rebuilding. Just sell him; you'll make a profit, almost guaranteed. You whatever you pay for him now is a low point. He'll come back next year. There'll be the hype again next year. You should be able to sell him on for a profit, probably just make a quick buck on him. What are you doing with Zach Wilson, though? Is he someone, if he's going to play all year, are you thinking maybe he's a sneaky buy? The talent is there for Zach Wilson, just, his decision-making on and, maybe off the field as well hasn't been the
best. No, I think with Wilson, I mean, it's just funny, isn't it? The day after games, which players have gone off, which players have underperformed, which ones have been injured, because they all end up on the trade block. So it's an interesting one. It depends what his value is. I think if people are expecting the addition of someone from the outside, Colin Kaepernick's been linked, saying he wants to try out. He's been wanting to try out for years, hasn't he? Which that's another story, but I think if he's going to be the starter all season, he's got a really nice offense around him. Yeah. I'm still interested. If you're paying a third for him for a starting QB, with the risk that he might play 1 week, 2 weeks, then get replaced, I think it's worth that gamble, because if he does show something, then you're on to a winner there. He's a young guy who was a first-round draft pick. Yes, he didn't have a great second season, but I know stats-wise for fantasy, he had a better rookie season than Kenny Pickett in a lot worse situation. So if we're tooting the horn for a guy like Pickett, then maybe Zach Wilson does deserve more of an opportunity, more of a shot. For me, though, I hope this happens just because I'll be crying tears down my face. But Tom Brady, he got enshrined into the sort of Patriots folklore at the weekend, into the Hall of Fame, and I just think it'd be amazing. A couple of days after doing that, joining the AFC East rivalry of the Jets, bringing Gronk along with him, and let's try and win on this win now roster. So I think you will be seeing some Tom Brady ads, maybe some Gronk ads this week as well. But yeah, back to Zach Wilson. I think if you can pay a third for him, it's interesting. It's getting me thinking. But another great point you made there was, if Rodgers isn't on your team, go and acquire him. Let's say that you've got the next person we're going to talk about, and your sort of middling team has swung to rebuild mode, grab Rodgers. Grab him now while his value is low, because in 9 months, 12 months, it's going to be higher. Yeah,
absolutely. And you kind of brought up the next person that we're going to talk about, and let's just pull up the banner, Kev. It's J.K. Dobbins, and I've got to be upfront and tell the listeners, J.K. Dobbins is my most owned Dynasty fantasy football player, because I took advantage. Well, I mean, maybe I was taking advantage of. I think about it. But of his previous injuries, they opened up buy windows for him. I got him on the cheap in as many different places as possible. I thought he was being drafted far too late for the talent that he has. He's gone and got injured again. I had another separate injury for him as well. It's not like it was the knee that gave way. He's had, the worst injury that you can imagine a running back getting. We know Aaron Rodgers got this Achilles injury. That's not a death sentence, even for a 50-year-old quarterback, whatever age Aaron Rodgers is. There is no record of any running back coming back from an Achilles injury and being a dominant force. Some people might say Cam Akers. They'd be wrong. Let's be honest. It just does not happen. And I know modern medicine's a marvel and people are coming back from different things, but the Achilles seems to be something that people really aren't managing to come back from. So I think this is just devastating for J.K. Dobbins. Kev, you got to help me out here. I've got a million shares. What do I do? Because I don't know.
I mean, it's so tough, isn't it? I've seen respected people in the community saying you've got to take anything you can for him. I think it's one of those things where you're going to have to hold him for a year, 18 months, maybe 2 years before you've got any sort of comeback to that. So you're holding a lot of risk there, I think. Yeah, if you can get a fair price, move off him, buy him when he's getting closer to coming back. If you're into that sort of thing, like you did, Mags, with your strategies to acquire on the cheap and take a little bit of risk, especially rebuilding teams looking to then move into that next step. It's important to embrace risk and take shots on guys that could spike or could increase in value. But yeah, it's such a sorry state for Dobbins. He's going to be 25 next season. We don't know what team he's going to be on. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
Don't know what the situation's going to be like. It's cruel because we know it happens with running backs all the time. I think anybody that's rebuilding, that's held him through the summer, they were hoping for that spike game to then move off to potentially contending side. And just we've started playing a lot of DFS together, and just from a DFS point of view this week as well, like he was set to go off. Look, he's running backfield mates and a couple of touchdowns there. So it's so unfortunate for anybody that was looking to hold and move off. But again, contenders that have got him, what do you do now? There is some options out there on his team. Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, maybe even Melvin Gordon from the practice squad. But there's also free agents out there that are potential additions. It just gets me thinking back to the other season when they had like Tyson Williams go off. Then I think over previous seasons they've had like Devontae Freeman have time, Kenyon Drake have time. So it could end up being a complete mess of a backfield. But yeah, what's your thoughts? Which direction do you think they're going replacing him? And is there anybody that you'd be looking to go after in Dynasty?
Yeah, and to me, the best sort of player there is Gus Edwards. But I mean, chances are he's going to go down with an Achilles next week anyway, because that seems to be what happens every time Edwards gets the chance. Because Dobbins or someone's out, he goes down with an injury. Yeah, I think you made a good point. I would be surprised if you don't see, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, one of these guys maybe suit up. Maybe they give Melvin Gordon a run at it. But I mean, Melvin Gordon didn't even get anywhere near the field for the Chiefs team last year, and he couldn't even be out Clyde Edwards-Helaire or, what the hell is that? I can't even remember the other guy's name, Ross, who is Ali's favorite player. Ali's guy, right?
Ronald Jones.
Jones, yeah, Ronald Jones. Couldn't even be out Ronald Jones to get snaps. So I don't know how good Melvin Gordon actually is anymore, but it's a bit of a mess. I think they have to sign someone in free agency, right? Is that what you think?
Knowing the Ravens, I think they'll keep it cheap for the short term.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like Harbaugh wants to promote Melvin Gordon, who's in his time's been great, but he's on the rapid decline end of his career. He couldn't crack the roster on the Chiefs, which towards the end of last season, it was a pretty open backfield. Pacheco took his chance really well. McKinnon took his chance really well. But thinking sort of mid to late last season, it was wide open. And maybe some optimistic people, I'll put my hand up, I was one of them. I thought Melvin Gordon is a renaissance on the Chiefs, but that didn't happen. So, I think Justice Hill's going to be on waivers in most leagues. I think Gus Edwards probably on waivers, but it just depends how deep you are. If you're talking 30-man rosters, he's unlikely to be on waivers. Would I acquire any of them? On waivers, I would. Yeah. Trading wise, it's difficult costs. I think anybody that's owning those guys, would they take a third? They should, but maybe they want more than that. Maybe they think, actually, I can tell a story in my head where I want a second, and they're gonna be the main man on an offense that's meant to be explosive with the pass weapons. Now there's going to be a lot of opportunities to score. It's cruel for Dobbins owners. There is some options out there. I think it's probably good news for guys like, say, Flowers, Mark Andrews, maybe even Lamar Jackson. It potentially opens more work up for those guys, if not being as efficient as a runner. So it's where there's negatives for J.K. Dobbins owners, I think there is slight positives for the other guys as well. But yeah, sorry state of affairs if you've got J.K. Dobbins on your contending sides, then if you are a true contender, you'll have someone already on your roster. If you haven't, then it's just maybe the alarm bells are going that you weren't ready.
Yeah, absolutely true. And going from one sort of wide open backfield to one that's maybe not so wide open, it's the Atlanta Falcons. And not just their backfield, but their general, offense. Obviously, they do have, the all-time great running back, Tyler Algier, coming in with 2 touchdowns last week, right? And this guy, Bijan Robinson, who looked okay in his first NFL game. But the rest of that team, I mean, not great, right, Kev?
I mean, first of all, Bijan Robinson, that touchdown, God. Literally, people are falling over themselves to...
it's like he time traveled.
It's literally like... he's a 99 at everything, and you're playing on rookie mode on Madden. Yeah. Scooting through everyone. It was beautiful to see, but yeah, you look at the box score, you think, wow, Bijan got 20 odd fantasy points this week. That's a great week. Then you see Tyler Algier had 70 odd yards, 2 touchdowns, and it just gets you thinking, what a week this could have been for Bijan. This could have been a real statement. Yeah. I'd predicted this week that it had the potential to be a Saquon-like introduction to the NFL, where he just smashed it from day one as a rookie. I think you've got to be happy as Bijan owner, the fact that he got several targets in the pass game. They didn't throw many pass attempts overall, but I believe the running back target share was like 45% between everyone. So we know it's not going to be like that. It's going to probably be near 15-20%, but great start for Bijan. Algier, it's just causing frustration. It's causing worry that he's going to be stealing goal line touchdowns from Bijan, and that he actually got more work for him. I think the biggest frustration for me, though, comes at the receivers. Just Drake London dropped an egg, made a goose, and Kyle Pitts, a great usage, I think, from an A-yards point of view, targeted pretty decently down the field, but again, like, people expecting him to make that step into top 3 relevance, the breakout season. He had that awesome rookie season, but it's on a knife edge. So I guess question to you, Max, is like, with first of all, London, are you worried?
No, some of the listeners might not have heard because my internet was terrible 2 weeks ago, but I know they heard me say London Bridge is burning down, and then I cut out, and then I gave lots of good reasons why you should be avoiding Drake London this year. And Exhibit A, right? Because this offense cannot get the ball out to him. They're not good enough. I don't think Drake London is good enough to be breaking away from a team's number 1 cornerback either. The target share isn't there for him while Kyle Pitts is on the field and not while Bijan Robinson is on the field. I have been worried about Drake London because all of the signs were there. That doesn't mean I think he's like a terrible player or anything. I think he's a pretty good number 2 on another team. But the issue is the team that he is on, I mean, they attempted 18 passes?
Yeah.
18. Now, you'll have your Desmond Ridder stands out there that will tell you that Desmond Ridder had the highest completion percentage of any quarterback last week, which is technically true, right? He completed 15 of 18, 83%, but that's just not enough times to throw the football and expect any kind of success. But this is what happened last year. Arthur Smith, this is what he's going to do. They ran the ball, I think it's the 5th most ever for a team in the last 10 years last year. So
yeah,
why would that decrease whenever you bring in, the most hyped rookie prospect at running back in the last 10 years as well? So it might be good for your fantasy team if you got one of those running backs, but avoid everything else, including the quarterback, I think. I don't know. Are you in Ridder at all?
Nah, I think Ridder's someone that there was a little bit of upside there. The fact that he was a Konami QB with rush upside in college, but at the end of last season, the 2 games, he didn't massively show that. I think it'll be interesting to see what like when they're playing from behind. Do they open it up a little bit more? Do they give him the option to maybe do some sort of read option type things and keep it himself? But yeah, I think players like your London, your Pitts. I know that London got mentioned on the Unplanned show we did, and I think it's really, really relevant that if you're a contending side, you're needing to win now, the pivots from London, from Pitts, you can basically take your pick of who you want.
Yeah.
There's lots of value going below them in sort of dynasty stats, your dynasty value. Yes, you're going to probably lose years. You're going to lose a sexy asset, but sometimes getting a little bit older, a little bit unsexy. Story in my life, but you've got to do it sometimes because you're in dynasty to win ships, not to be looking pretty.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of things that aren't pretty, we're going to move on to the wide receiver room of my favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. Or, I mean, to be fair, lack of wide receiver room, right? The big step up for Sky Moore, that didn't really happen. Rashee Rice caught a touchdown. That was quite nice. Marquez Valdez-Scantling didn't really do much. And everyone else I've completely erased from my mind permanently and I never want to speak about ever again. So those are the only players, right? That's no cast off from New York we've missed out or anything, right? Kadarius Toney. You know what, actually? I just think he had a bad game. I don't think this is... I don't see this as being a huge problem going forward. People have bad games. That, for Kadarius Toney, is just so obviously a complete misnomer, like dropping things that he would just never, ever make that mistake. You've already had Patrick Mahomes coming out saying what you'd expect him to say. Completely trust Kadarius Toney, etc., etc.
Such a pro.
Yeah. I'm not worried about him long term, but it doesn't help to see that. I mean, I was a little bit sort of worried about what Sky Moore did, though, because he was meant to be the guy that took that step forward. Didn't really see much. Does this game do anything for your value of any of these players, or are you kind of where you were before week one anyway?
I think it's been such an interesting storyline, like it is pretty much every off-season, especially since Tyreek Hill left, that everybody knows that Patrick Mahomes, he spreads it around to everyone, especially Kelsey, but everyone else, it's such a small pie where everybody gets a slice. But then we tell ourselves this story, we paint the picture, we tie our colours to one guy, whether it be Rashee Rice or Sky Moore, like I said, was getting a ton of hype. Justin Ross, I mean, he caught a pass out of bounds in training camp and everyone was going nuts. I think, we could have seen it coming, that those struggles without Kelsey. I think that the biggest shock for me was Sky Moore, because there was a ton of hype, and then he was in starter sets. He was wide receiver 2, starting a lot of the snaps, but he didn't do a ton without it. Listen to JJ Zacharyason's show this week. He's just dropped, and he's really bullish actually on Rashee Rice and Kadarius Toney in terms of their usage. That they weren't on the field much, but when they were on the field, they were being targeted. Yeah. So I think, MVS, I've never really truly been there outside of best ball. I think Sky Moore, it's no more for me. I'm done on him. I know you're not meant to overreact, but I'm putting that rookie season on display, playing all the snaps without Kelsey and not doing a lot with it. What happens when Kelsey comes back? That really worries me, how he's going to get these targets. He's already losing targets to Rashee Rice, a rookie, who's basically taken the same draft pick as Sky Moore. I'm done on Moore. I did try and do the alley trick where you get one share just in case. I tried that just before the weekend, actually. So I think Wednesday night went to the Sky Moore owner in a league who was on the block, and I kind of had him valued at sort of a second, or maybe I give a second to get Sky Moore on a third type thing.
Yeah, that's
and and basically he wanted a late first. Like, that was what he said. Like, assuming my pick was going to be late, it's not, because I had a terrible week actually. But if I go back to him, I can guarantee it's not going to be the same response. Really worry about more. I think there is interest with Rashid Rice. If you've drafted him, there's no point to panic. He scored a touchdown. The use is going to come.
Yep.
Tony, we know what he is. We know that when he's on the field, he's going to get targets. He's got so much talent. You've seen the community get high on him because of the flashes that he has. It's just, can he stay on the field? Can he keep his head screwed in? Saw him making a post on, I think, Instagram or something, about deleted his Instagram. Then he went on Twitter and basically lolled at the Giants this weekend when they got beat. So, honestly, wide receivers do that. Jamar Chase calling the Browns elves and then doubling down, which kind of think, just deal with it and man up sort of thing. But one thing I do know from this wide receiver core is, and from real life, the Chiefs need Travis Kelce back fast. If not, season could get out of hand. You could be 0-2 this week after facing the Jags, I think. So
yeah,
we need Travis Kelce back. It just shows his worth. Do you think the Chiefs could go after somebody like a Mike Evans, though?
I mean, it just doesn't seem to be the Chiefs' style for whatever reason. We haven't been able to lock. There's been plenty of people, available in drafts. There was a chance this year to kind of move up and go get Jackson Smith and Jigba, or go get one of these guys, and they didn't seem to want to do it. It's just kind of relying on the talent of Pat Mahomes, and why wouldn't you rely on the talent of Patrick Mahomes? But I would love to get Mike Evans in. I just don't see it happening, and that would break Ali's heart as well. We couldn't do that for him, right?
It'd be so funny. This show would just take it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. But one guy I wish that was still there is my boy Tyreek Hill, though, but he's not. He's over with the Miami Dolphins and Tua. Wow, right? Unbelievable to watch that game. We knew it was going to be a shootout. We mentioned it on the DFS show, but that was just awesome to watch, wasn't it?
Truly brilliant. Like we were saying before, that a lot of the DFS lineups, the ones that had sort of your Tua Tyreeks were going one way, and the ones that didn't were going the other way. So funny those ships passing in the night. But I think, in terms of Dynasty, like Tua's someone I've traditionally been at market or lower on, just based on a lot of risk with the concussions and the rush upside that doesn't appear to be there in the NFL. And I think I'm not going to say I'm wrong on that, because I do think there's that risk there, but it's fantastic to see him back on the field. Obviously, last time the Dolphins were playing last season, it was Skylar Thompson at QB. So just to see Tua back and looking as good as ever. Some of the throws he made was ridiculous. One on the move to his right-hand side where he just lobbed it up, and there was another absolute peach, a diamond in the red zone for the touchdown where he just lofted it over the defender. Was not many players can make that throw. Mahomes can, but not many others. Like, so good in that short game. So Tua is someone that, I really like the bounce back. He's someone I'm going to be moving up a little bit in my rankings, potentially above guys that have got something to prove, like a Dak, like Daniel Jones, possibly in that range with the rookies, Stroud, Young, etc. People that didn't show out great in week one. But wide receivers is where the excitement comes to me. It's not anything we didn't know already, but just to see a game script like that where there's all those pass attempts, the defense weren't doing much on the other side, lots of opportunity. Durham Smythe was involved, more than expected, but we know it's going to run through those two. So if you've got Hill or Waddle in Dynasty, you've got to be mega happy with these guys. In terms of the Dolphins, did anything change for you on the back of this game that was expected to be a high scoring affair?
Not really. I mean, this is why I've sort of almost been the other side of the coin as you on Tua. I've kind of been at value or slightly above.
Yeah.
But it's mainly because of those wide receivers. Like Tyreek Hill, he's going to be a wide receiver one. Jalen Waddle, he's going to be a wide receiver one. You put two wide receiver ones together, you got a damn good quarterback. He has to be. He can't not be a good quarterback and also have those people be, wide receiver one. So I think Tua is just so much fun to watch. He just slings it down the field. It was great watching him and Justin Herbert, two true proper gunslingers on both sides. I loved watching it. I think he's someone that, that's a one true kind of stack that you can be really happy with, even in, outside of baseball where you might more traditionally, kind of look for stacks. In your dynasty teams, you can be playing Tua and Tyreek Hill pretty much every week and be pretty happy with it, I think, because Hill's probably going to score well. Tyreek Hill, was he on course for 6,000 yards? I don't know. Yeah. So he's going to be right up there, if not the wide receiver one this season. So yeah, he's a lock, and then you want the quarterback attached to him as well. To it, you're right. The one thing is, though, you might be worried about the hits. He's one hit away. I heard some people say before, it's like, oh, well, every quarterback's one hit away. Yeah, but Tua more so. But, he's done a lot of work in the offseason. He's been practicing his little jiu-jitsu rolls, and he's got a new helmet, and he's doing everything he possibly can. So yeah, you just got to roll with him while the hand is hot. And I've got a question for you, right?
Yeah.
You own Tua. You're a contender. You own Tua. He's sitting, and he say you're quarterback 2. All right, so you're delighted.
Yeah.
Offer comes in for you. 2 first-round picks. Are you hitting accept or are you hitting decline? You don't get to counter.
So I think before the season, the values with the picks. Mm-hmm. I have Tua value low and two first based on where the rookies sit versus him.
Yeah.
In season, I think you just got to weigh it up. If you're looking like a contending side, and it all depends on your league as well. If you're looking at it as a contending side, you'd need to replace Tua. If it's a league that doesn't sell your QB, which a lot of leagues like this,
yeah,
you might be stuck. You might be in a New York Jets situation where you had a QB, you've not got a QB. You've still got to find one from somewhere if you're gonna go for it. Otherwise, you have to make tons of trades to rebuild, etc. So I'm probably in a vacuum. I like the value, but league dependent wise, probably not going to take it right now. I think you've got Tyreek Hill, who, let's be fair, when he's on his day, he is an alien. He's like a UFO, an unidentified flying object. Because that's what he does. Yeah. But I like Tyreek. I like Tua, and I think with Waddle as well. Maybe I'm just saying, maybe there's some owners out there that saw week 1, got a little bit jealous. You know how it is. Somebody does well, and you can get a bit of jealousy. I wonder if there's the ever slight small window you could maybe get in their head and sneak away Waddle for a cheap price. Because I know this week, Lewis made a great point on our Rewind show last night that Tyreek Hill, they face the Patriots. Belichick's going to be doing what he can to take away Tyreek Hill. It could be a Waddle week.
Could be a Waddle. Time to waddle, right? Like that. We doing that. We penguin dance the whole way in, right? And we got one more topic for you guys listening, and it is all about the Los Angeles Rams, Cooper Kupp, and the people that have been stepping up. And the whole topic here is who's the replacement. But before we really get into it, I actually want to highlight Matthew Stafford still has it. That was so impressive. I know everyone's been talking about, Puka Nacua, and shout out Matt FF Dynasty, right? I mean, he just closed his eyes, swung his bat, and hit a home run. Right? That was unbelievable. That Puka's the guy that comes out and leads all rookies for rookie wide receivers this week. Unbelievable shot from Matt. I imagine he's doing cartwheels somewhere, right, Kev?
I just literally Puka Nacua, Matt's wildcard selection for the year. I think
he's already won.
I literally have no shares of him, mainly because I just like to try and wind Matt up. And the only time I did put a waiver in for him was a league that all three of us are in together, and I was just going to try and take him for fab and then try and sell him to Matt for a first. But I think great shout on Puka Nacua. I think short term, the value, you could kind of tell a story again where Kupp's out. Could Puka do a decent job? Yes. Could Tutu Atwell do a decent job? Yes. For them to do that in week one when we thought it was going to be Tyler Higbee based on Seattle's sort of matchups versus Titans last season, or could it be Van Jefferson, someone that's got a great reception perception through Matt Harmon? But actually, it was neither of those. It was the two replacements, the two studs, two guys that should be on your waivers in your redraft leagues. Probably should have been on like taxi squads or waivers in Dynasty as well if you're loading your bench with running backs. But I think very interesting, both of these guys for different reasons, short term. But yeah, out of these two, is the one you're favouring more for Dynasty?
I mean, I just can't believe that.
We're pandering here. We're pandering.
Like, the real three-headed dragon wide receiver room was Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, and Van Jefferson, not Metcalf, Lockett, and JSN. Like, that is
so good.
That's what the people did not expect to see. I think, to be honest, I think they're all sells. I think you got to sell any of them right now because people go out and they'll see the headlines. They'll want to go and buy them. The second Cooper Kupp comes back, who knows when it's going to be, but it's going to be this year. Just goodbye to all of those targets. Like I said at the start, as impressive as Puka was, one really, really nice catch towards the end, actually. I'm giving 70% credit to Matthew Stafford, 30% to Puka. So I suppose if I've got to pick one, I mean, I'll take Puka, I suppose. But that's only because, people have been burned enough by Tutu Atwell. There's no point getting burned again. So let's take Puka for now. But yeah, I think they're all sells while they've got that little value spike. Or are you sitting on any? Are you doing the Ali special just in case?
No, literally, like I've kind of got out of that take one share for the laugh sort of thing. Like I've just decided that my process, if I'm out on a player, I just want to be out fully. I think it's more interesting with Puka than Tutu.
Mm-hmm.
Tutu Atwell is a guy that's in his third year, I believe, and not done a ton. Didn't really like him much as a prospect. Thought he was a gadget situation type guy.
Yeah.
Maybe the Seahawks weren't expecting it. Like nobody was really. Even the dynasty players. If anybody's starting Puka Nacua this week, again, you're not a contender. You're just living in a fantasy world. But I think with Nacua, it's really interesting that week one he's come in and smashed. It's a great record that if you come in that early and doing well, it's a sign. I don't think it's fair to compare him to guys like Travis Fulgham that had that little stretch for a couple of games and then disappeared off the face of the earth. I think there is mild interest there. That he could be on a different curve to Atwell. I think he could stick around. He won a lot of his plays at the weekend on the outside, which I thought would be more of a slot gadget, doing some runs, Robert Woods type. So I think mild interest for Puka, but I agree with you. I think if you can get a third for Tutu or a second for Puka, they're smash accepts for me.
And let's not forget, in case Matt gets too excited, let's not forget this time last year, leading all rookie wide receivers, my boy Kyle Phillips.
I cannot believe he's got mentioned.
So
somebody's bingo card out there is just the
tick. So yeah, it might not be all roses for Puka down the line, but he had his moment, and good for him, and good for all you guys for listening to this awesome show, and thank you so much, by the way. That's it for this week. Been recapping week one of the Dynasty season. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're following us on X at Fantasy Wildcard and check out the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty at Wildcard Dynasty on there. Make sure you're having a look for us on YouTube by searching up Fantasy Wildcard podcast network, you get to see this show. You got to see the DFS show. You got to see the Rewind show. You got to see the Devi show that's coming out. We got loads of great stuff coming to you. Kev, any closing remarks before we head away?
I just want to say well done to Matt on Puka Nacua. There's nothing else to say on the matter. Just well done, and there's been so many great topics we've gone through this week. Lots of different angles we've took it. It's slightly different format to last season, so yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, and it's going to be sort of more conversational, more off the cuff, and we could go down rabbit holes like if you'd have said a week ago, will we talk about Brady and Gronk again, or will Kyle Phillips get a mention? And I said no.
Yeah, just check us out next week. Don't miss next week's episode when I shoehorn Kyle Phillips in once again. Thanks for joining this week. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.